only stream to one channel at a time. So I'm just going to share it in one channel and I'm going to share the link. Meanwhile, we have new people coming in. Himanshu, hey Himanshu. So guys, please take a second and tell us like which part of the world you are from. I mean, which part of the world you are from and who's your favorite superhero? I really would love to hear that. Because today it's going to be like automation is going to be your superhero for your business. But personally, I would love to hear who is your favorite superhero. I mean, like there could be like debates about Marvel, DC, or someone else. I'm curious. I mean, I'm from India, so we have had like our very own superhero from decades ago, which most of you wouldn't have heard about. So I will stick with Iron Man to begin with. But then please tell us like who is your favorite?
All right. Well, so for me, it's my wife because she can live with
Or
me.
someone else. Okay.
and because she's also watching, so, getting some points for the evening tonight. And no, she's amazing because we have two kids and we are quite busy with what we're trying to accomplish with Boost.space. So I think I have to be grateful for my family.
Nice, wonderful way to put it. So everyone else, please tell us your superhero. I mean, Tarash got a bit cheesy there to just because his wife is watching. So that's like family of superheroes. So Ayman, who's just joined, hey Ayman. So now for this webinar, I mean, while we have like Pavel is here, hey Pavel. So let's keep on coming. So here's a quick update on how this webinar is structured. So meanwhile, Tarash, I have shared the link for the YouTube live streaming with you. So please check that. So today's webinar, we are going to have a quick introduction about some of you most of you would have heard about like Tadash, Matosh, but then we would love to hear from them once again. And of course, we would love to hear about like everyone who's joining. Kiran is here and Mohammed is here. Hey, Kiran, hey, Mohammed, just say hi. Don't feel shy about that. Hermes is here. So, and just say hi to us. We'll be very happy to hear Kiran. So, Kiran, where are you tuning from today? Which part of the world? And what is your time zone? I'm curious because I'm sure like Ray is tuning in from UK. Bangalore, oh nice, I'm in Bangalore today. Would have been nice to meet you today. So Dublin, oh wow. Ray, I think I'll see you in Dublin later this October. I'm coming there for Sastock. Would love to meet you in person. KL, nice. Egypt, yeah, Sastock, yes. Let's meet up there. So Teresh, so please tell us a few words. Holland, nice, beautiful place. Been about 8 times. I never knew Sastock was there for 8 times. Wow. That's beautiful. Egypt, beautiful. Hello. Alex is on. Yeah, wow. Nice. So, Tarash. So, please tell us a few words about like where the Boost.space team, like awesome team is located and how big is the team and how far you have come across and what made you to build Boost.space. A few words about that.
All right, so thank you so much for your time. My goal when building Boost.space was to empower your tools to share the same database, because I was working in an automotive company and we had a lot of products in the product database. We had a lot of dealers, e-shop, accounting tools, and it was just very difficult to find a way how to effectively update the price and distribute it to all those dealers, to all those tools. And this was the first moment when I faced the trouble of data being scattered all over your tools. So we did have some database in Excel sheet, we did have some database in our eShop, but it was just hard to make them work together in a seamless way. And at one point I saw the inspiration in the way how mobile phones actually share the data. Inside each phone there are about 20, 30 mobile apps, right? And when I take the phone and save a new contact, immediately all other apps can use this same record, this same contact. And that's because there is some kind of a central database in your operating system of your phone, and all those apps, they are scouting to this central location and they are taking data from there. And when they save a new contact again, all the other tools know it because they are looking at the same location. And I was just thinking it might be a good idea to try to introduce something like this in the business cloud environment, where it actually might help to save a lot of time and effort and help to leverage the value of data that usually lies hidden across many tools, hard to use, hard to leverage, and this is the goal that we set for Boost.space.
Idea is very interesting, because I have sometimes felt that like how Apple accumulates all the data and then it makes my life easier. I mean, ever since I switched to Apple's ecosystem, I never looked back. So that is like a beautiful ecosystem, and the entire ecosystem is built around the data. So I love the way you put it.
Yeah, and so we slowly started, working on our solution. We gained first enterprise clients for which we did our, our value proposition as a service at start because we were bootstrapping, but then slowly got more customers, we got some investments, and we ultimately turned this to the product. Last year, we launched our campaign with Sampath and Sos Mantra, and this gave us a nice boost. And thank you guys so much for having us last year. This made a huge difference for our efforts to be visible, to get our technology to the people, because we just at that moment we were just developing in our office, and we didn't have much sophisticated ways how to reach the public. So this is what happened about a year ago. We released Boost.space, and then we realized, yes, that's what we promise. It helps you synchronize data, but it's not so easy for everyone to set everything up. It might be difficult to create first automations, and first few steps in our system were difficult. So the learning curve was a little bit steep at start about a year ago. So we set on a mission to create data synchronization as simple as possible. And about a year, we've been just adding features to make your data synchronizations as easy as possible. So we try to push it as far as we can in terms of making your life easy and making a two-way setup or setup of two-way synchronization as easy as possible. So this is Boost.space 3.0, and this is where we came so far.
Nice, beautiful. So just a quick trivia, if anyone's interested. Just in case if you guys love trivia, so here is one. So I am Tadash. So we had the initial conversation about Boost.space in sometime like towards the end of February or early March 2022. From there, it took us like 6 months with a lot of discussions going back and forth, several calls back and forth of positioning the product, because initially the product looks kind of like more intriguing, but then how to position the product, whereas it's not actually competing with like Zapier or Make, whereas it's like a very different product. So which uses Make engine for the automation part alone. So that was like a kind of like very difficult for us to bring that positioning. Believe it or not, it took us like nearly 2-3 months just to figure out that piece of it before we launched, and then we finalized on like what price points and how soon to launch LTD and so on. So the time gap was like 6 months purely working together, several calls almost like every week before we launched the LTD last year. So that was a fantastic experience. But then what happened was like the real magic was what Tadash, Matosh, and everyone, the whole Boost.space team has created in the last 1 year. So now they are going to dive deep into that. So if you're interested to know more about like Boost.space 3.2 as much as I am, just type one in the comments. So that will give us like more boost to make this webinar much more wonderful. So just type one if you're super eager to learn more about like how to make your automations much more of a breeze, data synchronization to work for you, and you don't have to worry about like collecting data. You should be worried about like data should be working for you ideally. That's what we're going to look into that. And Tadash, please give us a quick walkthrough. Please share your screen and give us a nice walkthrough of Boost.space 3.0.
Okay, so I got two things I want to share here. So
yes,
first of all is just a high-level concept on how we approach data synchronization. So we say a lot that we are a new standard in data synchronization, and by new standard we mean that we have introduced a new standardized way how you can save your data in a central database, because Boost.space ultimately is a no-code cloud platform, or you can take no-code cloud database with connectivity to all those 1,400 tools, and with features that provides real-time two-way data synchronization and data consolidation. So ultimately, the difference between Boost.space and tool like Zapier is that, you know, with Zapier, you have to connect tools one by one. And, you know, this is a typical scenario where a company has 20 cloud tools and there is a data in each of these tools. That's part of the company data, but it's really hard to connect them all together, because if you're trying to combine, you know, data of all these, connect all these to each other, that's 20 times 20, 400 integrations, and you have to constantly maintain all those 400 integrations. It's just quite difficult to do because all these connections are one-to-one. So what Boost.space is actually trying to do is something like your router in your network environment is doing. So this is the same image, but with Boost.space in the middle. So right now here you don't have 400 lines between each of the tool, and you can just connect, you know, all these tools to the central database, aggregate its data, or let's say consolidate the data into central space, and use this centralized data set as a starting point to share this data, and all the tools can just, you know, take the data and utilize it from here. So we just a little bit adding this centralized kind of database on top of the classic integration engine. And Boost.space is actually a key partner of make.com, which is you know, alternative to Zapier, and we actually are using their engine. It's part of our subscription to send data from one place to each other. So it's like they are the cables between the tools and we are the router that can help to orchestrate the data exchange. And with all data flowing through central space, through Boost.space, we can then remember which data was most recent, where did we make last changes, and we can then put some logic to orchestrate a two-way data synchronization. So this is just a high-level overview of, you know, what is Boost.space, but of course the key goal here is to show you what we can do inside our UI. So right now I'm inside our demo Boost.space system. And so first what you can see is you have many icons here. And that is because Boost.space has a set of pre-made databases, let's say, or we call them modules, that we developed for you, that they work as a data standard. So for example, our database of contacts, if you click here, is ready in terms of the columns and fields, and it contains a lot of, you know, standardized columns. I can show you how many columns we have. So there's like really a lot of fields, things like first conversation date, number of pages he saw. There's like really a lot of pre-made data fields. So it's not, you know, it's like, if we say no-code platform, you think about, you can create your own columns. So you can do that with Boost.space, you can. But the preferred way to work with Boost.space is that you use one of our pre-made columns that are standardized and that can already work with all our data synchronization templates. So with this database, you know, ready, you can create a new space. We call it a space. So let's call it like a separate database. You can set up user rights who can see and access this data. And so inside here, when we want to create a first integration, so I see I already have like two records, two test contacts here, but we can just go to this tab and set up a new connection. So basically load data into Boost.space. So I'll just put this full view, and so on the right side, this is supposed to represent the database, and on the left side, these are connections that I've already made. So to create a new connection, you can click on create a new scenario, and you have 3 levels here of difficulty. So because we try to make it as easy as possible, we are preparing an integration templates. So for the tools that we already create templates, you can find them as a super easy or easy, depending on if we can utilize their functionality to send real-time webhooks or not. This depends on a third-party tool, or all other platforms that we are slowly getting to create a new integration templates. But I'll show you, for example, we have a template for integration with Google Contacts. You already see that in the next step, there's just one way you can go. You can use this one pre-made template. For some tools, like you can imagine eShop, there could be more than one template, because for eShop, you might want to choose if you want to synchronize your orders, your contacts, or your product database. So, but for Google Contacts, it's just the database of contacts. So there's just one way to go here. So we click next to choose this scenario. And of course, if you are not on the webinar, you can then watch a video of me trying to guide you how to make this integration. But I'll just do that right now. So we just skip this step and go next. So in the next step, this is very important. You are actually, Boost.space is recommending you how to set up your database columns. So I remember I showed you earlier that there's about, I don't know, few hundred fields that you can, attach to your database. Boost.space actually knows which columns are being used by Google Contacts. And based on that, he can recommend you which custom field groups, which groups of columns you can add to your database. So I can just create connect, and I have my database ready to take all data from Google Contacts that the Google Contacts can provide me. I have also ability to choose which space, which folder I will save it. So it's preset to active contacts because I started the integration there. And the key column. So that's very important when you want to merge duplicates. If you sometimes have more than one database, so maybe you have your data in your eShop, your Excel sheet, on some other sources, you might have duplicates among them. So the same one contact, the same guy with the same email in 3 of the sources. Boost.space can use the key column and merge data based on the key column. So let's say here it's a main email. So as soon as a new data will arrive to Boost.space, Boost.space will check if there is already a contact with the same email. And if there is, Boost.space will only, consolidate the data, combine this data into the same row, and will not create a duplicate. Versus if we didn't set the key column, it would just enable you to just create duplicates and create your database this way. So depending on your use case, probably with contacts, it's better to don't do duplicates and remove duplicities. So merge them by the email or by other unique identifier. And let's go to the next step. So this is step 5 of 7, so I'm not going to take too much of your time here. It's actually allowing us to create a security API token. So we have the API scopes that you can manually select here if you want to do granular setup. But our developers have prepared already scopes that you require for Google Contacts, and you might just go with our recommended set of scopes. And so again, on this step, in most cases, you would just click next to create your API token, or let's say to create your connection in our integration engine. Okay, so in this step, we actually, the Boost.space is saying to us, or trying to tell us that we have a new connection created in our integration engine. So when I'm saying our integration engine, it means integration engine provided by make.com that we administer and that we bend to our needs. But the full technology is developed by make.com, and as long as they have a new connection, a new integration, or new partnership with a new tool, we immediately get that available in Boost.space as well. So this way we can keep up the pace of having more and more integration every month. But let's see what is the next step. So we have to remember the name. So it's number 17 because I've already done few test drives here, and continue to our integrator engine. So this is essentially a different color of make.com. So some of you might be familiar with that. And because Boost.space has worked hard to make all the logic inside our database, inside our platform, you can see that the integration template is really easy. It's step 1, load contacts. Step 2, save it on Boost.space, and Boost.space will deal with everything else. So let's start the guided setup. Here, I have to choose my account. So if I click here, actually Google verification window will jump on me. I'm not sure if I'm not sharing that one, but I'm just putting my password to Gmail right now in a separate window, continuing. And now actually Google is verifying the connection, and my connection to Google was created. So at this moment, I have actually told my Google to send data into Boost.space. Next step, I choose which data. So here we'll start just synchronizing all the contacts that we have in my account that I have connected to this scenario. And this is the step where you need to select this number 17, the connection that was already created for you automatically by Boost.space. So I have to remember that this is number 17, and I think it's a very important step not to make a mistake. Another important step here is to select the space that you want your data to end up in. So I want this data to end up in our space called active customers. So this is what I want to accomplish here, and this is why I set up the whole automation. If I click continue, everything will start happening. So it's creating your scenario, it's preparing your data structures, and I can try to run the scenario once. So the scenario is now running. The scenario was initiated and is actually now accessing data that I have in Google Drive. It's loading data from Google, and you see these comics bubbles, right? So they are telling me that this operation created two contacts. This is one contact, this is another contact, and these two contacts were created right inside Boost.space. So I can save the scenario, I can click back into our demo account inside Boost.space and say we are all set here, everything is ready, and end the tour. Now Boost.space will actually load this new integration scenario. So you can see it's already here taking data from Google Contacts. And if you look to the organized view, we will encounter new data that I have synchronized from my Google Contacts account. So of course, this saved you two contacts. So you might want to pick up the pace here so we can come back to our scenario, not that everything is tested, everything is running well, and I can set the limit how many records I can process at one time to something like 50 or 100, or I would recommend about 200 at maximum, because the key here is to create a lot of many executions of the scenario at the same time. And as long as there is a new contact that you save in the Google Contacts, it will again execute the action to run this scenario. So you wouldn't really need to create a huge number of scenarios. It can run every 15 minutes, every 5 minutes, depending on your use case. So we can just turn this scenario on, we can make it run, and at this moment, actually, if the scenario is not already running, it will start synchronizing your data inside your database. So now you see there's already more contacts and more will start to generate. And this is how you set up a synchronization to Boost.space. So I try to explain here that we've done all we could to make it as easy for you as possible. You actually don't have to map the data structures together because we already created all these templates for you, and we are we changed the design to go in this step-by-step flow. So what would be 2 or 3 next things that I recommend you to do? So if you have your connections running, you can see now in this demo account I have three tools. So this one, MailChimp, is actually asking me to reconnect, because this is sometimes when your login session expires, it's usually about 1 month or half year or something like that. If it expires, it has to ask you to reconnect. So this might be something that you might need to do. It's depending on the security policies of your third-party tool. And here you can also set up the priorities. So depending on if they have all medium priority, all this data will just overwrite each other. But if you set higher priority to one data source, so let's say data contact, the Google Contacts will be my highest priority source, all sources of data with lower priority will not be able to overwrite the data and will be only able to fill in the blank or empty columns that are there in the situation that I am trying to save duplicate inside the same row or same record inside Boost.space. So of course, your ultimate goal here is not to create one synchronization from something into Boost.space. It's more like connect all your tools, synchronize your all data into one central location, and use this centralized data share this database with all your tools. So that's why we have all these other tools connected already, because we've already went ahead and prepared the demo account earlier. So we have all these tools loading data from this database. So actually, this Pipedrive, MailChimp, and LinkedIn campaign will already have these new 4 contacts that we have synchronized from Google Drive here. There is a last view that I want to show you because I want to just keep this short and simple, and that's the consolidate view. It is basically showing me which columns are being utilized by which source. So if I'm importing data, you see a lot of columns are being filled in from Google Contacts, and this data export is which columns are being utilized by which tool. So basically, if we are loading data for this webhook, which columns are these webhooks accessing, and this way I can have the overall view of data being shared across your tool set, and bringing me back to this image. This is as close as we could get in the UI to this image and to something that we try to accomplish, and is to enable your tools to share the same data set. So this is Boost.space, and of course, if there's any steps that you find are difficult for you, contact our support. We have really dedicated team of really cool guys on our support team, and they'll do all they can. And even me, I can do all in my power to help you. You can book a call with us, including me, and we'll make sure that you can set up your automations in the fastest and simplest way possible. Thank you so much. So that's
lovely. So that was a nice and quick demo. So thanks for that, Paresh. First time. And just a quick discussion between like Boost.space 2.0 and Boost.space 3.0. Could you please tell us like what are like major differences and what's new? Because from the demo, I do have like plenty of questions. I'm sure most of us who are already in the webinar, you guys have questions as well. Like if you have like a lot of questions, you don't even have to ask, because I can pretty much figure out like what kind of questions you may have. But if you have questions about the product, about how to utilize Boost.space at the max, something like that, just type on 1 in the comments and we will know. So just type 1 if you have questions about the product. You don't even have to type the question. I'll do that part for you. So now, Jarash, sorry, you're going to say something?
So Boost.space 2.0, you had all the freedom to set everything on your own. We didn't have any pre-made templates at that moment, and we didn't even have a pre-made columns. So as explained, these are a starting point for all our data synchronization templates, and we try to observe which synchronization and which data flows are being used most frequently, and we try to prepare templates and make it step by step to set up the integration. So earlier it was much more difficult to set up because you had like all the freedom and you had to learn everything. You had to understand all the moving parts to be able to be creative with our tool and to be able to accomplish anything nice. Here at this moment, you could see that I'm clicking next, next, next. I don't even care what's there because Boost.space automatically recommends me the best setup. And this is the core difference. And trust me, this is one of the most difficult things we have managed to develop so far. So it was actually much more difficult to make a data synchronization easy versus to create a tool for data synchronization. So I would say 40% to allow it to synchronize data and 60% of making your life easier. And we are not finishing there. We are, still in our, today is our launch, so we are still in our early days. So we're gonna be, pushing on this and trying to make it even more easier, more simple, trying to create some more customized templates for you. So there's actually one thing I want to mention here, because our team and our marketing guys have really, and even developers have really worked hard on this. So this is the website. And on our website, we keep on saying synchronize your data, synchronizing your data. But what is important for us is to help you to be creative and guide you to the best use cases and to best synchronization flow that can help you to leverage the most out of your data. So that's why actually, like today, we have released a new section called flows. So if I look at this section, So right now there's going to be like 5 flows, but trust me, in a few months there's going to be, I don't know, 80 or something like that. Like we're trying to push on this a lot most. And here we can see how we can, for example, automate a LinkedIn outreach with, synchronizing Boost.space data with some lead generation tool and with a tool that can make your LinkedIn outreach and send the LinkedIn messages. Or here we have done a partnership with a database that is called Audience Lab, and it's similar to Apollo database. Actually, the data set is the same. And with them, we have a deal for you that you can actually synchronize their lead generation platform on the left side to Boost.space. And we actually done this in a way that is easy for you to set this up. So we created these nice guides that you can have those steps. So click here, click there. That's step number 1. Next step you have to do in LinkedIn Navigator. So he's actually steps how you can set up your LinkedIn Navigator to be automatic outreach machine and bring you some value. So after you follow 4 or 5 of these steps, you can get to solution. And ultimate value proposition here is not synchronize data in order to synchronize data. It's more like synchronize data in order to send 100,000 leads every month and approach them on LinkedIn or via email or via something else. So this will be a good use case for sales or marketing, but of course some e-commerce use cases or more like invoice oriented use cases are coming soon. And this is also one of the very important features that we had to work quite hard to make these guides for you and give you a way how we can get inspired by the most recommended and frequent flows to make few of you tools work together.
Gotcha. So thanks for showing that flows quickly. So I do have questions around the flows, just like I'm sure like a lot of us would be having questions around the flows. But before we get into that, so here is perhaps like a common question that's sitting in like almost everyone's mind as I understand, like I can automate the data. I'm addicted to flow. Nice. I'm glad to hear that. So there's a lot more coming. We will start to peel it one scan at a time. I mean, like we will get into deeper part of that in today's webinar. I'm going to ask like a lot of questions to Tadash around that to make sure all of you guys are going to be like super excited about flows. I have prepared like a bunch of questions because luckily I had the privilege to look at the flows, when they were working on the initial version. I was like fortunate enough to look into that version like a few days back. So ever since I have been noting down some questions, so we will dig deep into that. So Tadash, so please tell us in the simplest language of why anyone should be using Boost.space to make the integration and make the automation happening instead of directly using make.com. I mean, of course, like I'm not going to be getting into Zapier or something here because we are all are very well aware that Make is like second best automation tool in the world, if not the best. And Make has like much more of like a privilege, just like how you can customize your own form. So Make.com provides you all of that, right?
Yes.
So now Make is like, I mean, easily it is like a most user-friendly. I mean, however that you want to play, it basically gives you like a lot of clay, and you can create like whatever mold you want with the clay, which is Make, right? Now, as like a business owner or like salesperson or like a marketing person, I can directly use Make.com to keep my automations running. And what does that Boost.space brings into the picture, into the workflow that makes it super interesting and becomes like a must-have for me to run my business smoothly. Please explain that in like in the simplest language, along with perhaps like a couple of examples from a business owner's perspective.
Sure. So I think May.com is probably the most complex and the most user-friendly integration engine, and that's actually why we have partnered with them, because these guys are amazing beasts in terms of send your data from one place to another. But there are some situations where you don't want to send data from one tool to another, but a direct flight for your data is not enough, that you might want to synchronize many tools with each other. So I would never say that Boost.space is the number one solution if you just want to synchronize data from one tool to another. If you just want to accomplish that direct route, you can set up an automation scenario in May.com, and that is fine. But if you run synchronization via Boost.space then remembers, which data was flowing through it and when. So it remembers all the timestamps and remote IDs, like IDs of the records in the third-party tools, and it can actually orchestrate the two-way data synchronization. So basically, it is something that might be quite difficult to accomplish, two-way synchronization, if you are just trying to set up a make.com scenario. Because with two-way synchronization, you cannot just load and save, and if there's something you load and save, because you will create some kind of a loop, and the universe will collapse, and this is like, we don't want to do that. So what you need to do is, when you're creating a two-way synchronization, you need to remember what is the most freshest data and only go to override something else if that's the most freshest and newest data. So Boost.space actually can give you the ability to set up a two-way synchronization, which is a use case really difficult to accomplish in any automation tool, Zapier, anywhere. So that's number one. And number two, I think if you think deeply in, and if you remember all your tools that you have, you will find yourself quickly in a situation that you have duplicate records in many tools, because that's how it is. You need to, you have your CRM, you have your emailing tool, Facebook campaign tool, Google Audience, and LinkedIn outreach, and of course you're trying to get data from your CRM to all these tools. But at that moment you have duplicities across all your tools, and it is really hard for anyone to leverage the power of data if it's so many duplicities, so many data scattered in different formats. And that's why Boost.space comes in. So in a simple language, it's the same reason why in your house, when you are connecting network tools together, you're connecting them to a router and not connecting them one by one to each other. So this is probably the way.
Okay, beautiful. So I'll probably frame that with like another example that I'm based on our business. So please tell me if I got it correctly. And everyone who is on the webinar, so if you are in sync with my question, or if you want me to dig this deeper, just let me know in the comments so I can dig this deeper along with Tarash today. So say we are collecting all the SaaS founders who wants to partner with us. We are collecting the data using paper form. That's what we use. And we have a CRM system. Now, say anyone who, if I'm going to be using make.com directly to establish the integration between Paperform and our CRM, then all I have to do is like just make a connection, an integration between the two. But the same SaaS founder is going to be submitting like multiple products to be listing with us. And within our CRM, every time an input comes in, it's going to create like a new record, new account. Whereas with the help of like Boost.space, it's going to be the same contact, and all the records just keep on getting added to the Boost.space. And a CRM is going to eventually show me not like 10 records. Say if I say SaaS founder has like 10 products, it's not going to showcase to me as like 10 different products in my CRM. It's going to show me like, hey, this is like Tarash, and he has 10 products, and he wants to launch all those 10 products with you guys. Now, this is a specialty of having these two-way integration, two-way sync up using Boost.space. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, so Boost.space have the ability to remove duplicates and to prevent you from sending data directly, which, for example, if you're using Google Sheets or anything else, they don't have a logic to automatically merge duplicates in case the duplicity entries arrives. So yes, this is it. But the most important question comes in: what happens if you need to synchronize the contacts to your emailing tool or to your marketing tool, to 3 other tools? So at that moment, it's much better to just connect this tool directly to Boost.space. And why? Because we already have an integration template for, I don't know, meta audience, and you can do that within few clicks, and you then have to find a way how to connect one tool to another, and then everything is your CRM, and then connect your CRM to something else, and then whatever happens right? It's just, one too many. So it's actually, you can see this in our logo. So it's actually like one too many. I don't know how to say this like here, but this is like what we try to showcase here, that like that's the solution when you want to go with the data to more than one tool.
Perfect.
And
So,
gives you kind of flexibility to any time in the future to just get a new tool and have it up and running really fast. So how about in 6 months you decide to change your LinkedIn outreach tool to something new, and now you have 10 other tools hooked to it, complex scenarios, everything kind of fragile, working together somehow. And you can't just enjoy the freedom to just throw away one tool and implement another tool, because you would have to redo all these processes and automations. And with Boost.space, you can just install a new tool, connect it to the master data set, and it can immediately access your centralized data. So really, and we're not really developing something new here. It's the same concept you can see like in many real life areas, including the example with the phones earlier, or the routers in the network communication I mentioned.
Right. So just to reiterate or to enhance Tarash's points here. So the biggest plus, I'm just going back to the previous example that I was just trying to explain to understand the concept here. So say from the paper form, I could move all the data to my CRM. That was like initial setup. But with Boost.space, at the same time, I just have to pull in my data from paper form and from to Boost.space, and from Boost.space, I can send it to my CRM. I can send it to my marketing automation tool. I can send more like a backup or something to my Excel sheets and so on. So I can basically make like one to many connections at the same time. Now, at a later date, hey Sam, so at a later date, say I'm going to be changing paper form into some other forms, say Google Forms. Now, if someone else comes back, either they are going to be like submitting the form. If I were using Zapier or Make.com directly without using Boost.space, then it's going to keep on creating new records into my marketing automation tool, into my CRM, into my all the other tools that are integrated. But now, with the help of Boost.space, this is not going to happen. Boost.space is going to tell me, hey, this data, this contact already exists. So your new fields can be updated, but I'm not going to help you create like new duplicate records unnecessarily. So Boost.space is going to help me achieve that. Is it right, Tadash?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Okay. And perfect.
I think subconsciously, like the market and the makers, or even like a Make.com website or Zapier, if you just share your website quickly, if I look to the apps and services and I just sort that by the most favorite ones. So then number one favorite tool is Google Sheets. Number 3 is Airtable. Then there is Notion. Then there is Monday, ClickUp, all those kind of no-code cloud databases or no-code cloud tools, because it's just not enough to make one synchronization to another. That's why everyone is using Google Sheets in this example to make one scenario, save data into the Google Sheets, and then load data from Google Sheets to 3 different destinations. But with this solution, with Boost.space, you get automatically data consolidation features, two-way synchronization, and you also get a snapshot backups, which means if you mess up your synchronization in some way, if you lose your data somehow, you can just take it back 30 minutes ago and load your data back again, or 3 hours ago, just we having like this nice snapshot backup. So basically, we are a no-code cloud database built for automation. This is how we try to find our space in the space, and that's where we try to be interesting in terms of the features. But we love Google Sheets, nothing against them. I'm just thinking it's just hard to accomplish a two-way synchronization with the Google Sheets, and much easier to accomplish that with Boost.space.
Perfect. So now I just want to ask the audience quickly. So Van, how many of you have faced these duplication issues in your day-to-day business? Because we have personally faced that when we had an intern. So basically they have been adding records in the CRM, but then it's not updated in our Google Sheets and then or any of our backup databases. So we have had the duplication issues because Then when we are syncing up back from an Excel sheets into our CRM, and there is a record already exists in the CRM, but then when we are syncing up our Google Sheet, it creates like multiple duplicate records. So this single problem could be eliminated big time with Boost.space. Like if I'm going to be like, say you could be having, say like 50,000 records in your Google Sheets. Now you want to push all those records into, say, a cold outreach tool, and also you want to sync up the same with your CRM as well at the same time. Now imagine setting up a workflow where, of course, you can still eliminate to some extent with like Google Sheets, you can eliminate like some of those data, but what if it's like on a Google Forms or something? So having X number of records, like thousands of records, you don't have like all the time in the world to eliminate all those duplicate records before you start syncing and start emailing them. But with Boost.space, you're creating like a centralized database where you can have all those records checked, synced up properly before you push it out to different tools that you are using. Now, the biggest plus here is like since Boost.space works as like two-way sync, if you're going to be updating your records in any of the tools that you're using, right? You don't have to go back to your Google Sheets and update the records. If you're just going to be like updating the record in your CRM, Boost.space is automatically going to be picking up, and then it's going to update in your Google Sheets as well. So now that is like a biggest plus point. That's what I say. If you agree with me, just type me in the comments. Teras, you are saying something.
Yeah, so I just to elaborate here a little bit. So usually you just want to, generate your leads or use your database to, start communicating with them using marketing tools. And so the typical scenario that we, recommend is depending on if you have their LinkedIn profile or if they don't have a LinkedIn, you can make a decision that the guys with a LinkedIn profile will be, sent from Boost.space into the LinkedIn outreach tool, and the guys without a LinkedIn profile will be sent to your emailing tool. So now all those tools, they will do their job, and they are amazing to outreach and message people and communicate them. So you can work there, and at some point they will send you a reply, or at some point the campaign will finish, and that's something that will change in your emailing tool, something that will update in your marketing outreach or LinkedIn outreach tool, and this data, this change was saved immediately inside Boost.space. So just imagine the guy unsubscribes. So the guy unsubscribes, this information is distributed back into Boost.space, and all three other tools, your CRM and your other tools, have updated information that this particular person unsubscribed. Or what's better, if they reply, you can then immediately see that in your CRM, because that's where you can get the overview. So it's also important thing to recognize that you don't have to synchronize everything immediately. You can wait for certain action. So for example, wait until the campaign on the LinkedIn is finished, and after that change the column campaign finish inside Boost.space, and that's when a new campaign in emails can start, or PPC advertising. And that's why we can combine marketing campaigns on PPC advertising, email, LinkedIn at the same time, because of course that is the best when you approach the customers at the moment that they are receiving your ads and when they are receiving a lot of communication at the same time. But we are not only about marketing. We have different data types. You just be a little bit creative. We will prepare the flows for how you can distribute synchronize your invoices, your orders in your ordering system, or product databases, because that's where the idea originally came from. So if you just want to if you have an e-commerce and if you want to prepare your product database, remove duplicates, maybe ask ChatGPT to create your product description, send it back to the central database, and then send it to your eShop. But maybe you have more than one eShop, so you can just connect the central database to 3 eShops, to your physical store, to your accounting tool, and now your employees can come in, change the price, boom, it's changed everywhere, and nobody has to be really worried about if the data is distributed everywhere. So yeah, but I think we will be introducing those flows. We will be focusing really highly to trying to show you and guide you on using our tool. Just so there's more of these flows coming on our website soon.
Nice, nice. So, Tadash, so just going back. So, say I'm going to be syncing up my data from multiple tools into Boost.space. So here is another biggest plus of Boost.space. You're going to be like running automations. If you're running automations directly from your existing tools, say like multiple tools into a single CRM. So we have previously seen how Boost.space could actually help you by running like one to many. Now, this is also going to be like huge plus. If you're going to be syncing up multiple, say you're running like an ad campaign to collect like leads, and you're using different forms to collect those leads, and or maybe you will be using chatbots. So you could be having your same lead sitting in your chatbot, sitting in your forms, or sitting in like say quiz builder, like whatever it is. Like you are collecting leads in various different forms, like say 5 different tools. So Sam was just mentioning, Sam Gosani, good to see you, mate. So Sam was just mentioning that he wants to know about like continually, say continuous like chatbot that you're using to collect the data. So all the different data from different data points and different sources, you're going to sync it all with Boost.space. It's going to create like, it's going to remove all the unnecessary records for you, automated. That alone could save like a lot of time for you. So, and then it's going to send all this information properly in a structured way to your CRM. So you don't have to worry about having your CRM cleaned up, spending more time on that, or sending like emails by mistake. None of that will happen. Your team, you and your SDRs, your business development people, they're going to get a clean CRM to work with, no matter how many sources you're going to connect with Boost.space. It could be 10, it could be 500. So Boost.space is going to help you centralize, clean up, have like a proper database there for you to use. So that is the power of Boost.space. Now I have a question for you, Trash. So when you have like so much of data coming in and sitting in Boost.space, so basically data comes in and data goes out. So would Boost.space be helpful for me to have a backup of my data somewhere, so that just in case like one of the lead sources I have connected with my, when we're handling, especially when we're handling many to one, if one of my lead source has messed up, say it got corrupted or something, but then I have that synced up with Boost.space already, would Boost.space create like a temporary record, temporary backup for me?
Yeah, Boost.space can, so you can use Boost.space only as the destination. So you can load data from your tools to sit inside Boost.space. You can create scenarios like this, and you can wait for the moment when you get the problem with your data. In that moment, you can synchronize it back. You can keep your two-way synchronization as a one-way sync for the start, and just use it to offload your data. This is also possible. And yeah.
Wow.
Just one thing. Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead. I'll wait.
I was just so of course it can enhance your, it can help you to save some time. It can give you a little bit more of like data security, because your data will be centralized, backed up. You have these snapshot backups and things like that. But what I feel is the best power of Boost.space, and something like we shouldn't forget to mention here, it can actually not help you to save time and save some money. It can help you to use the potential in your data and use it at max. So basically, if you have a contact database that you can now use using 5 different tools, and create a cross-channel marketing campaign in an easy way, this is where you can actually earn more money thanks to data synchronization, rather than constantly thinking it can save me some time because I don't have to manually copy and paste something, right? It can save you the time, but in reality, it can help you to leverage the full value of your data that lies scattered in different tools. So I think we can leave it on that, and see about more the LTD and these other sections.
Yeah, of course.
Some more ideas about Boost.space?
Oh, of course. Like I do have like, I mean, we have like, we are here in this webinar. I mean, we have like nearly more and more people joining as they go. Like we had like nearly 25 new people join in like last 10 minutes alone. So it's like a bit more deep into this. It's getting interesting. So fam, so whoever seems to be like getting this as and when we feel more, do you find this like more interesting? Just let us know in the comments, so we will know. Just type me or interesting or more. Just type something in the comments so we will know. So your comments are going to be like a big boost for me and boost for the Boost.space team, right? So using Boost.space, do I still need to make? Yes. So Maki has a quick question. Interesting. Thank you. Thanks for that, mate. So Maki, I'll get back to your question. Don't worry about that. So we have like really interesting things to cover. A lot more interesting things to cover. So Raj, you were just talking about like leaving the data scattered here and there is basically like us leaving money on the table. So that got me like much more intrigued. So anyone else here is like find this interesting that we could actually make more money basically with the data that we already have. If anyone is interested in that topic, just let me know in the comments. Just type me so I will know so that we can dig deep into that right away.
And there's one fantastic question I see in the chat, so I just want to address that. If using Boost.space, if you need to get a separate account on make.com. So no, we actually made a partnership with Make. We take their technology bundled up inside our product and we create one comprehensive product. So, everything I'm saying here, data synchronization, you can accomplish under one subscription with Boost.space, and Make engine and certain amount of operation is included. So yeah.
Perfect. So there you go. So you don't need to get like separate Make subscription. You are saving a lot already on that just by using Boost.space. So on top of your saving on subscriptions with Make, you're getting like complete Make engine automation within your Boost.space account, and you get like data backup, complete data backup, regardless of the number of sources. You can basically connect like multiple data sources into Boost.space, and you get like two-way sync up, which I don't think that any of the tools like that offers like less than $500 per month is offering two-way sync up. So that alone is like a huge time saver. And now we are going to dig deep into like at least a bit deep into the part where Tadas was hinting us about like how we are leaving money on the table just by not utilizing the data that we have. So Tadas, we have like a couple of examples of how we could potentially use the data to make more money. Anyone here is interested about like making more money, Paul? Because I'm sure interested in that.
So if you want to make more money, just ask me and I'll show you how.
Yes.
No, I'm joking. So for this, I just put a mirror board because I think this is important to showcase the sales and marketing use case in its full beauty. So usually the first thing that you need to try to do is to generate your lead. So this lead generation tool. So in Europe, you might be thinking about something like LinkedIn Navigator. In US, you might be thinking about like Apollo database, or we have a good partnership with a tool called Audience Lab, and we have actually a good plan that if you could contact our support team, we will promote this on our website later, but we have a plan where you can buy 100,000 leads a month for around $250. So that's like amazing deal here lying on the table. So you have like few different tools, few different ways how you can generate your leads. Or you might have your own database. So you might have your Excel sheet or other databases. So these would be your sources of data of your contacts, right? So this is a part, I just put a different color here. And of course, trying to connect them all together directly to all your marketing tools that might cause a lot of problems with your duplicates. So that's why we put in the middle this. Oh, this is too small. It should be Boost.space. It should be big. So this is where we put Boost.space in, and Boost.space, and we actually synchronize this data inside the one central database. So you might want to use all of these, you might just want to use some of these, it really depends on your preference. And then what we tend to do is we tend to connect it to your, if you want to go like in-depth CRM, so we can connect to like a CRM or like Pipedrive or some tool like this that can give you like the nice overview of your process. But you don't have to. You can look on the contacts directly inside our tool. But Pipedrive has a nice contact history, and they have really nice features for that, or any other CRM that is just made for tracking your history of your communication. But then you might want to set your data. So how we tend to pace our sales funnel is we send new data to so imagine here the Pipedrive has certain stages, or let's say Boost.space also has like a certain stages. So stage 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'll explain what I mean by that very soon. And so in the stage 1, you might be thinking, is the first moment where you approach your contact, you might be thinking to show them some advertising using a PPC advertising tool. So this would be something like Google Ads. This might be like a LinkedIn audience, or like LinkedIn campaign to deliver like paid ads, or like Google or Meta and Google, and these type of tools, or YouTube, and these type of tools where you have the paid advertising, right? So you can, in all the contacts that just recently appear on inside your database, they can actually be automatically synchronized with all your PPC marketing audiences, and you can start delivering a marketing campaign, like just a few short adverts, but like 1 week or something, just to warm them up and just to make sure they know that your tool is the best for whatever you're doing, or that your product, just to get them to know your product. So after about a week, you could synchronize it back, and you could see that these contacts have been receiving and PPC adverts for about a week. So now we are changing the stage for stage 2. And so, of course, this change of the stage, it can reflect also in the CRM if you are using it. So you can change the stage in your CRM to stage 2, for example, right? And at this moment, it would be nice to approach them. So if you want to do that at scale, you can choose to do that via LinkedIn outreach. So we actually have a good experience with, for example, tool called Expandy, which is helping you to, you upload your contacts there, and it can deliver your messaging sequence to those contacts. So at this moment, you are actually sending only contacts in stage 2 into your LinkedIn outreach audience. And what it means is only the people that have been receiving some information about your product in the past few days will now get a message, maybe from the founder, or from your sales representative on LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, or if you just want to go much higher in scale, because with LinkedIn you have certain limits how many messages you can send, you can do some cold emailing tools. So now we are there's like this LTD community here mostly, so probably a lot of you guys know about Instantly, for example, or there's a tool called Smart Leads. These guys are beasts for sending like nice cold emails. So either of one of these tools, or any other cold emailing tool for your preference. I've seen some nice tools that can work with AI and can customize the messages. So you can choose your tool and synchronize your data there. So this would be either the guys that you don't have their LinkedIn profile, or guys in the stage 3. So stage 3 would be approach them via email, and after your campaign gets delivered, it might take 1 week here, 1 week here, 1 week here, and after 3 weeks you can update them to stage 4 that the campaign was finished, and you can decide what you want. You might stop contacting them, or depending on if they replied, you might want to invite them to your webinar or to your call. So this way I'm actually enabling you, or Boost.space is enabling you to use the power of paid ads, LinkedIn outreach, and cold emails combined in one full-featured automatic sales funnel. And all our flows that we are presenting on our website actually can work with each other. So if I translate this to flows on our website, you might just want to have flow to send data to your PPC campaign. So that's flow number 1. And then if you have a pipe drive, you can have flow number 2. And these are the steps how you can accomplish flow number 2. Then there is a flow number 3, how you can send data to LinkedIn, right? And then there is a flow how you can send data from LinkedIn Navigator automatically to Boost.space. So these would be exactly the flows. And one flow is not exactly the best thing to have just one flow going on, because we're trying to help your tools to enable this same data set and enable many tools to work together. So that's why there is like more tools in this environment, and that's how actually we can hopefully help you get more better way of working with contacts across your many sales channels. So yeah, this was
Okay. This is
short
super interesting.
example.
Yeah, so this is very interesting. Who else finds this interesting? Just type me in the comments so we will know. I mean, if you type me, once we have more me's, I'm happy to dig this in further deeper and we can explore this a lot more with Tadash. Like we can perhaps set up like a session that says like Tuesdays with Tadash. And then we can explore this like every Tuesday, like one new complete flow of how we can, this is kind of like more like a verse, like more like a multiverse with Boost. That's how I would say it. It is more like it's not a Boost space, this is more like Boost verse. So this is getting much more interesting to us. I'm sure like we can schedule like a whole session or like multiple weeks just to cover a lot of these ideas. We can, I know you are like a man with like tons of ideas, tons of ways of how we can best utilize Boost space. We would love to have this with you. Anyone else agree? So that we should have like sessions like Tuesdays or Thursdays with Tadash, just to cover these areas. Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you, Kiran.
Well, I would love to have some sessions with you guys, and also, what is our ultimate goal with my team here is to not make this knowledge available only during one webinar, but also anytime you need, have it available in our section on our website. It's called Flows. So of course, like we released it yesterday, so there's just 5 flows there, but there's going to be more and more coming. Everybody here is really eager, and my team to work on developing more flows. So let's make the webinars, let's make the calls. Also, let's bring some ideas how which tools should we include, and I think there's a lot of nice LTD tools emerging, and maybe we can provide them with a way to connect to hundreds of others, because if we create a bridge between one tool and Boost.space, ultimately it means we create a bridge between that tool and 1,600 other tools on the other end. So there's a nice win-win actually. If you guys are founders, if you have your own product and you want to find a way how to get the connectivity there quickly, now you don't have to build automation scenario one by one for each tool, because only thing that you need to do, you contact us and we help you build the bridge, or let's say automation scenario between your tool and Boost.space. And so soon as data arrives to Boost.space, it can be utilized by all our flows. So that's also one of the beauties, that you don't have to connect everything to everything. I tried to showcase that earlier on this webinar. When you have 20 tools, 20 times 20, that's 400, right? But if you make different math, if you make 1,650, this is how many integrations we have, times 1,650, that's 2.7 million combinations of data transformations that you have to set up. But with Boost.space, we are just actually cutting this down to 1,650 in and 1,650 out. And as long as we do those flows and templates, that's when we can connect everything to everything. But
nice.
Yeah.
Like that's basically like a square of 1,650 as of today. And more and more integrations get added, the number goes up higher. Interesting.
And I would really love to see a lot of the new tools and startups there, because I think usually the connectivity is being something as a luxury goods. All the expensive CRM tools, they have a good connectivity, but what about the rest? And I think this way we are trying to find a solution how we can provide the connectivity for a lot of tools. So as long as you create a scenario between your tool and Boost.space, this way you can connect your tool to all others.
Perfect. So we have a few questions. So Tarso, I'm not going to miss out on that. Obviously, we'll talk about the deal. But we have a few questions that came in earlier, so I'm just going to go through them quickly. So Sam, so your specific question, like whether you have direct integration with Fluentform and continually, I'm just going to address this question as a whole. Is it okay? So there's like a lot of tools that, of course, like 1,650 is like still a really good database, but there could be like, as you know, like more and more tools are coming out every week, and then say on average, at least like 10 very interesting tools are coming out every single week, right? And people are getting adapted to that now, which means like that is like a whole different set of database. Like there is a huge database of tools which we are all using, but they are not automated or they are not integrated with make.com yet. So what is the solution and how can we tackle this for Boost.space users? Like we don't have, I mean, they are not integrated with make.com already, which means it's not going to be available in Boost. So how to overcome this?
So you can just contact our support and we can help you to integrate your tool inside Boost.space. So we have the full autonomy on, adding new tools inside Boost.space and helping you to build, those bridges. That's number one. Number two, even if you have any sort of API, we can use our HTTP modules that can work and create any kind of API request. And so for some use cases, it might be interesting, not to go all the way to, get your logo inside our tools. That might be, requiring one day of work or something like that to create everything. But if you just want to create one simple scenario to watch a webhook and something new happens, receive data inside Boost.space, this is what you can do immediately right now, even if your tool is not listed in make.com, even if your tool is not listed in our synchronization templates, because we have this HTTP module, HTTP integration, which can help you to design and send any kind of request. So of course you would expect to have like different tools here, but if you type this HTTP, this is like a little bit not known too much, but this is how you can create an API request or API call to interact with your API, even if if your tool is not listed among those others. But still, if you want to have your tool listed, let's do this. Contact us. We can help you. There's two ways how we can do that. We can build some win-win partnership, help you to build that, or we can send you a guide and you can do that on your own. There's just it's like a special format that you have to share your API structure with us, and at that moment we can kind of get your logo up and running and get you a flow that can incorporate your tool into our other workflows.
Perfect. Interesting.
Imagine how interesting it would be if all the LTD tools that you have guys developed could interact with each other in like a seamless flow. This is somewhere where we are hoping to get at some point in the future.
Yeah, how many of your tools are collecting dust? Now time to bring it all out of the shelf and start integrating them all using Boost.space. This is freaking interesting. Anyone else think this is interesting? Just type me so we'll know. Like it's time to dust off all the LTD tools that you guys have, like all the subscriptions that's been collecting dust. And finally, we can start using them and purely automating them. Very cool, right? Yeah, nice. It's cool. Thank you. So following up with that question, Sam, I hope that answers your question. So just in case if you are around and if you have more questions to that, please ask us. So Annie wants to know, like, how can I update my account from 50,000 to 100,000? I believe, Annie, you are talking about the number of records. So we will address that shortly. Like, just give us like 5 minutes or so. We will get to that part where we're going to talk about the deal and what's coming up. Okay, just stay tuned. I'll get to that. And Mal has a suggestion. And Tarso, let's talk about LTD. Yes, we will. And Paul has a question. So when we are creating a Boost.space account for now, for the product and review promotion, and can we upgrade the same account to a lifetime deal account once the LTD launches on SaaS Mintra? Or do we have to create a new account? Tadash, matter.
So if the LTD will launch, which is a secret now, then you might update your account. So it is possible, but the process there would be to contact our support, and they have all the freedom to kind of help to adjust your account in the way that you need. So even like some existing trials, for example, imagine you built a trial a week ago, then you buy a Boost.space subscription somewhere, and you can then contact our team and they can upgrade you. So yeah.
Perfect. So yes, it's doable. So yeah. And if in case when that LTD arrives, and then if you have any challenges in syncing up or something, our team, SaaS Mintra team and Boost.space team, we are also synced up on Slack to make the communication easier. So if you're running into a problem or something in the future, all you have to do is just contact anyone of our support and we will help you make that happen. So we are, Boost.space has been syncing up with us in a way that we are already integrated with Boost.space. So business-wise. So that's there. And going to Mal Sherlock. Sure, count me in. Creating a weekly session that showcases ideas would be great, but the session need to include a list of all the tools and connector automation bridges. Of course, I do agree with that. Would love to see the hot integration flows as core templates that we all can leverage. Absolutely, I'm totally with you on that. I mean, if that is not the way it's going to be, how it's going to be structured or created, I'm going on a war against like Tarash. So we'll have to create like a lot of templates. I have been telling this Tarash for like over like last 6-7 months. So of course, like we would love to have like see a lot of templates, a lot of bridges and so on. But for which like we would love to have your inputs here as well, like more and more ideas of how you are looking to use your tools. Like you don't have to like what is it that you're trying to achieve, like your longer goals or something. But each and every one of us have at least like 10 or 20 tools that are collecting dust ideally, and telling us your nature of business and what exactly you're trying to achieve, and or you can just tell us like what are the tools that you have. Then we can figure out like best ways. I mean, Tarash has like a brain that I can more and more deep I dig. I could get like a lot of ideas from his head, I'm sure. So maybe we could like figure out like what are the tools that you have, and then we can establish connections, integrations in a way. We can create like a completely new workflows, and then we can put them on templates. Does that sound cool to all, to Mal and everyone? If yes, just type one. Just type one if you think that idea is cool, and we'll start making that happen. And Matosh type one. Thank you, Matosh. And Paul, yeah, one. Thank you. Okay, that's like more coming. Ash, thank you, Rash. Sam has a question, raised his hand. Yes, Sam, love to have you. Just need to see. Sam, I'm just going to be inviting you. Yes, there you are. Sam, you are on air with us. So feel free to ask your question. Sam, you're on mute. If you have more questions to that, please let us know. So Hani, meanwhile, Sam, I'll get back to you. So Hani has a question. So Hani, please feel free to shoot your question. Where and how do you store the data? Yeah, meanwhile, so Matthew has a question. Where and how do you store the data? Asking because GDPR and server location and so on. Trash.
So I was just contacting my team here. Okay, so can you repeat the question? Sorry about that. I had to send one message.
Yeah, so where and how do you store the data? So because like there is GDPR, server location, and so on, there is like so many complications. Earlier we talked about like Boost.space would act as like a centralized database where you store the data backup and stuff. So where do you store the data?
So all the data that is flying into your account is actually flying into your separate kind of, I would say that a web hosting or separate kind of part of the server. When you are installing new Boost.space, you'll realize that the installation of the trial, it takes about 1 minute or something like that, like a long time. Everybody is like you want to install Boost.space, it takes 1 minute. Why? So that's because we are building up, we are separate, web hosting, separate database, separate part of the server, encrypting everything, preparing everything so that you have your own Boost.space system on a completely separate URL from all the others. So this is one of the kind of important features of our security, that those individual accounts and individual systems are like completely separated from each other. So with our classic software as a service plans, for a few $100 there, or $30 or something like that, that's where our pricing starts. We automatically deploy this on our server. So we do have our own server cluster that is running, in the data center here, get our own like set of servers, and we maintain that. So nobody external have access to the data, and all the data is encrypted. So actually it's quite safe for any kind of external attack or anything like that. In the situation that you have like enterprise plan, you might have an option like to discuss with us how much it would cost to run Boost.space on your own servers. So it is also a possibility, but it's a possibility for enterprise clients, and it's quite expensive because we have to keep running the server and take care of your server at all times, and that's not something that is easy to do. So this is where it is running. We have our own servers, and the data flying in let's say Make engine we are hosting on AWS. So depending on database AWS or the engine for sending data, we have this infrastructure.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Radash. Matthew, I hope that answers your question. So please let us know if there is a follow-up question to that. Now, just kind of quickly address like a few other questions. So Valentine and Paul support tells us that with no entity. Well, a quick BTS, like behind the scenes. So this is a private discussion that is still happening between me, Tadash, Matosh. We are still having a discussion of how to structure the lifetime deal, because we, of course, like we need to make the early adopters happy. So this is like kind of like a tough job, trust me. So when I say it's tough job, it's quite a difficult job to keep your old customers happy and also keep your new customers keep excited about the new plans. So the price point alone is going to be like a kind of like a difficult challenge for us. Of course, we can come up with like, hey, we are bringing back the same plans, but that will upset the early adopters easily, right? I mean, if you are an early adopter, you would agree with me. So we are still discussing what are the best options to tackle this and how exactly we can bring it back and what are the possibilities and so on. We'll discuss that in just a minute. So don't worry about that. Leave that to us. We'll just discuss that, right? So please stay tuned. Valentine, Paul, and everyone, stay tuned for that. So Mal, Sherlock. So, okay, some ideas. Maybe like create custom flow themes for sales stack, Marcom stack, social media stack. Okay. So basically, we should then be able to peel out and replace a tool in the stack with an alternative. That is interesting. So basically, we are going to create like an overview, like an executive level, and then we are going to peel down layer by layer with like different tools. That would be like kick-ass. So I love that idea. So I'll ask my team, I'll get my team to start creating some flowcharts around that, and then we will try to dig deep, and then we will start planning out some series of sessions with Tadash, like kind of like Thursdays with Tadash, like maybe like first Tuesday of every month, or like alternative Thursdays every month. We'll start doing that session. Mal Sherlock, you can count on me.
Yeah, we have to think about how to do that, and I think because our platform and Make engine that is included in our platform, we offer like a lot of flexibility. So any one of you can create a template, basically, and we are just one step away from any one of you being able to create a flow. So I think at some point we might be trying to aim to the situation that you guys can be creative with your flow and you can submit it to other people. So of course, with the help of the community, it could be much more creativity, much more chances to build something nice together. And so, okay, first ask is, if you have your tool and you need connectivity, reach out to us and we figure it out. And ask number two, let's brainstorm the use cases together, and maybe at some point we will even provide some technological way of you guys creating flows for each other, hopefully.
Yeah, of course. Like we can perhaps like start with the tools that are there already available with the integration. We can start work first based on that, and then we can start replacing them with like tools, peel them level by level. We'll totally do that. So that's there. And Paul, thanks for the update. A lot of companies bring back deals. Yes, I totally agree with you, Paul, there. So we too consider like bringing some deals, but then when the products have grown so much, they don't have need to run on the deal. It's going to be like difficult, right? Like, of course, they have getting like a lot of monthly paying customers, annual customers, enterprise contracts, and so on. That's the stage like the whole team is heading towards. So of course, it's kind of like a bit of a difficult challenge, but at the same time, the LTD community, of course, like SaaS Ninja community, we will definitely be bringing back. Yes. Okay. So let's break it down. The short answer, like I will treat as more like a short answer. So Rash, may I go? with a short answer for the bringing back about the deal? Or would you like to?
You can
Okay.
go with a short answer.
Yeah. Okay. So short answer, yes, the LTD is coming back this month. So we're just not sure about the dates because we are still finalizing. Given how busy the team is getting, they need to make sure like there's going to be like enough people on the support to help you guys during, especially during the Legion launch. Of course, you know like how difficult it gets for the support team. So we are just planning around that for their team and for our team. So we are bringing back LTD file one last time. That is going to be like the last ever time. So just for the love of Boost.space, SaaS community, and you all. So we will be bringing back the deal this month. So just not sure about the specific date and time. So Sam, thanks for the reminder. I'll get to that. And that's the next thing I'm going to cover. So, but then in terms of the pricing and structure, that is something that we are still finalizing. So we should be able to finalize that, but it's going to take us like a week or so because of how busy Terra's team is. They somehow managed to squeeze time to do a webinar with us today. They are also having a webinar with the CXO from make.com sometime next week. So their schedule is like kind of busy. So I need to try to find time to make sure that we are finding the sweet spot that will make all of us happy. Of course, like we want everyone to be happy. That's how we create like win-win-win deals at SaaS Mantra. So we need to find that sweet spot. We are working on that. Once that is done, I will announce the date in the group and also in the newsletter, and we all can get ready, get up for the launch. Okay, you have my word on that. Is that happy? Are you guys okay with that? If you're okay with that, just type okay, so I will know. So I'll just take on like Sam's present. Thank you, Sam. So I'll give away for the live audience. I have the note down like everyone who has joined the webinar today. So when the date is finalized for the launch and what exactly are going to be pricing, I'll also make an announcement of who has won the giveaway, like LTD for among people who have stayed with us throughout the webinar until the end of the webinar. I'll make an announcement on that. Does that sound cool? Sound okay? If okay, just let me know. Awesome. Thank you, Kiran. So, and Tadash, in a few words before we wind up the webinar, it's been like more than almost like 1.5 hours. So, and do we get a coupon code? We will have an early bird as usual, Paul. Don't worry with that.
So really, thank you so much, guys, for being here, for the chance to show what we've been working on, and we are trying hard to make data synchronization as easy as possible. And of course, it is a complex thing, but it has a really big power to help to transform your business. So stick on this road with us, watch us, and see where this goes, because we have some big plans ahead of us, including enriching the centralized data using the power of AI. That is something in development currently that I cannot speak about, but it is coming soon as well.
Perfect. So, and Naz, sorry, I missed your question earlier, so I'll just address this quickly. So, when after like for the product and launch incentives and stuff, so can you redeem that after you purchase the deal? I think that should be doable. So did I say someone has won, they want some reward, and can they redeem the reward along with the LTD or after the LTD? Is that okay?
Yeah, you can. We are trying to make sure, like, we need your help now. Like right now, there's an active product hunt launch, and this is like a big ask for me. If you can give us your upvote, this means a world for us. It is very important for us to end up as a top 5 deal today, and be able to get the exposure that product hunt can give us. So it's very important, and any one like counts very a lot. So that will help us, yes. And we need your help now. And of course, we're not going to forget about you. A few weeks later, when you subscribe to us, you will be able to redeem your benefits. So even a long time in future, just you have to remind us on our support, but we are really oriented towards paying back for what you do for us right now.
Thank you, Rarash. So, and thanks everyone who has been upvoting, and please take a moment to share that in your socials or with your friends as well. Your support will be very much appreciated. So you need to contact Boost.space, even if you share it with you on Facebook. If you already have an account, so just let us know that you have supported them, just let them know the support. So that will be like very much appreciated. If not, create an account and let them know. So they will have an idea like who you are, and they will help you redeem your reward. So apart from that, everyone a personal ask is like, please share this with everyone you know, with your friends, with your newsletter, like to your audience as well. Like each and every support is going to be like adding a lot of value for Tarash, for the whole Boost.space team. So, and Shudo, I'll drop you in the, I'll probably reply you there. So I'll keep you posted on that. I'll update you on that once I have the date finalized. Roughly within this month, within September 23. This month, not next year. This month, 2023 September, I'll update you. So, I mean, we'll be launching within this month. So, fam, feel free to share this webinar, and of course, like Boost.space 3.0, anything that you're excited about, everything you are excited about, and especially product and launch. So let's support Boost.space team to help them make the product of the week, product of the day at first, and then the product of the week if possible. Yeah, thank you. I hope I can count on you guys for that. So thank you, Tarash. Thank you, the whole Boost.space team, for making the product wonderful and awesome. Cheers, and wish you the best.
Thank you, Sam, for building such an amazing community and for giving startups an opportunity to, showcase their technology. And what you're doing for startups is amazing. So thank you again to you and your Sales Mantra team.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Bye, guys.
See you soon.
Bye, guys.